Coming up next on MCN, the McAllen Cable Network, the Development Corporation of McAllen from McAllen City Hall. The Development Corporation appointed by the City Commission is charged with making recommendations on how to use money that's been raised from the half-cent sales tax that was approved by McAllen voters on May the 3rd, 1997. The recommendation is made to the City Commission. They make the final decision. And now, the Development Corporation of McAllen.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'll call this meeting to order. This is a regular meeting of the Development Corporation. It's February 22nd, 2022. And we're going to start with the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting held October the 19th, 2021.
Does Eduardo have his presentation?
I'll entertain a
Did
motion
Eduardo bring
to
his presentation?
approve the minutes
Yes,
as presented.
Ready to approve? Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item number 2. Receive and file financial statements for the month ending December 31st, 2021.
The financial statements before you are unaudited. As of December 31st, 2021, the Development Corporation of McAllen has a total of $20.7 million of assets, $719,000 of liabilities, leaving a fund balance of $20.7 million. The next page in your packet will show your statement of revenues and expenses. Year-to-date actuals total $5.5 million in revenues, with expenses totaling $1.3 million. Other financing sources and uses total $607,000, resulting in revenues over expenses of $3.6 million. If there are any questions, staff recommends acceptance of the report.
Any questions? Any questions of the financials, anything at all? What's straightforward? We got a healthy fund balance, right? Is that because we're not moving projects along fast enough, or we just have a healthy fund balance?
You do have some unspent budget at this point, so out of a $21.9 million budget, 1.4 has been spent within those first 3 months. Sales tax revenue is trending higher than budgeted. On a straight line basis, it's ahead of budget by 16%. On a seasonal basis, if we adjust it, we're ahead about 19%. So
Wow.
Revenues are coming in quite well.
It's a good problem.
Yes, sir.
It is.
Yes, sir.
The sales tax, as of December 31st for our books, would be November sales tax collected?
January,
October.
December, yes,
October?
November sales. Because we get them in January, we move them back to December,
Oh, you
and so
moved
they're
back.
2 months from.
So December should be strong, which would, this next quarter should still be on a very positive track.
Yes, it did quite well.
Move to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. All right. Item 3.
Item 3 is a budget amendment, Mr. President, members of the board. And I'll just tell you what the numbers are, and then we're gonna go over at least 2 of them, because they're new. So the first one is a rollover. What that means is that Morris Park Improvements Phase 2 was budgeted last fiscal year, but we had estimated we were going to spend $55,000 and didn't. Or we thought we were gonna spend the whole thing and didn't. So we need the $55,000 to finish the project. It isn't additional money, it's just moving it from last fiscal year to this fiscal year. The second one is an EDA grant match that we discussed via a 380 agreement with the City Commission. And the match for this really, really good project is $995,000. I'm gonna have Michelle talk about it here in a minute. But let me just tell you about the third one. Is a new project to you. It's not a new project to us. It is a budget amendment that we're recommending for Dove Avenue Extension. Dove Avenue is one of the last bond issue projects that we have in the books. We've got them down to about 2 or 3. And obviously, we took them in a matter of priority. And we're now ready to go forward with this project, but of course, it isn't that we missed the budget so much, but that in 2014, this was our estimate, and we just don't have any money left on the bond issue. So we're short $1,661,000. A large part of this project is drainage. So we're recommending to the city commission, and we discussed that with them last week, that we use a drainage fee to supplement this shortage. We've actually got these two numbers inverted. I apologize for that. The 881 should be drainage fee, and the 779 should be Development Corporation. And so we're recommending that we use $779,000 towards that shortage of 1.661 million from the Development Corp, and the rest will use the drainage fee fund. So with that, I'd like to go, well, do you have any questions on that one? Why don't we start there? And it's a big project that includes a siphon and a drainage box. So that's why the number on drainage is so big.
Roy, have we met with the county at all to see if there's an opportunity to partner and get them to assist us with any of the drainage costs?
We're gonna do that. The same question came from the city commission. And I hope that, they're receptive to it. I don't think they will be, because there's no reason for them to be. This is our project. They're perfectly fine with an open channel, but we are gonna ask.
It's precinct 4, right?
It is precinct 4.
I'd ask before March.
Yeah. Yes, sir. And that ask may have already happened,
Okay.
but we're gonna follow up.
I know that they have some rural drainage development money available and some leftover monies on some of their larger bond issuance. Maybe there's an opportunity there.
Sure, yeah, same thing came up at city commission.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir. If there isn't any question, then we'd recommend that project. So if there isn't, we'll go back to EDA and have Michelle give us a little highlight on it.
Okay. Basically, this is a development in South McAllen. It's going to be called South McAllen Industrial Park. And a developer came to us with the idea of partnering and doing an EDA grant request. We were successful in obtaining a 1.5 million EDA grant. We do not yet have the letter of award, but we have had preliminary contact with them, and they've asked for the additional information so that they can issue that letter. We expect to have that any day now, maybe within a week. This project will open up about 120 acres of industrial park land on 1501 Military Highway. And the total amount of the infrastructure estimated is for a little over $4.5 million, of which the city would contribute $995,000. The developer would contribute a little over $2 million, and any other overruns that would occur, and then the EDA grant is the other $1.5 million. So this will give us an opportunity. We're always hearing from MEDC that they need industrial space, and this will help to open some of that up, 120 acres worth. I do understand that the developer has purchased additional land, so there will be future phases as well.
How many companies are expected to go in there, or how many lots, I guess, is?
They are still, there is a subdivision, that I believe there was 15 parcels, I believe.
Okay.
Mhm. And then they're looking at about 665 new jobs, and an overall regional economic impact of over $85 million.
Oh, wow.
Through a study they did with the UTRGV.
Pretty impressive.
Seems like a good project. We recommend approval.
Any other questions on that project?
Motion to approve.
Have we heard all the projects already?
Yeah, those are the
Okay,
3.
so we
Now,
have,
if you wanted a presentation on the Dove, we have it, but if you need more information.
I think we've kind of
familiar
talked
with
about
it.
Dove already. So Dove and South McAllen Industrial Park are new,
New to the
budgeted
development.
items?
Yes, sir,
and then the Morris Park is a rollover.
correct.
So if, we add the 995 plus the 1.6, how does that affect our budget by adding, what, 2.7, 2.6 million?
It's not 1.6 though, it's the 779.
779, okay.
Yeah.
So $1 million roughly, and then 779.
Yeah, it's about 1.8 million.
Did we-
Towards, from the fund balance, and what was our fund balance, about 10 million? With this?
Without.
Without it. We're at 9.4. Yeah, 9.4. And obviously, you'll have it in your next report, minus 778.
So we approved a budget surplus of,
You'd be at about $7.6 million fund balance.
okay. So when we approved the, well, back, I guess, when we approved the budget, did we approve the budget with a fund surplus? I mean, with a budget surplus?
Yes.
It's, I guess, sufficient to cover these two items?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
By 7 million. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, I think you were talking about fund balance, right? I mean, that would be different than the budgeted.
Yeah, but we had, see, that's a complicated answer there.
Yeah,
We've got a lot more projects.
Allocated versus
than-
spent.
Yeah, exactly. We have a lot more projects that we budget for that we don't do, right?
Yeah.
Daffodil's a great example that it's been over 3 fiscal years.
Yeah.
So you've actually got a budgeted expense of over $20 million. But you had a fund balance prior to that of some 30. So your budgeted fund balance was 10 million.
So there's really not a science to it, other than trying to project what your future expenses are going to be from now to the end of the fiscal year, and adding these kind of projects based on where you see these projects needing to be funded, right?
Right.
And based on our current fund balance, I mean, with $20 million, I mean, there's still room to
Yeah.
add projects.
I mean,
budget.
this budget that you approved at the beginning of the year, fund balance wise, is probably the best we've had in 5 years. Because we had so many projects that were gonna be dedicated towards development work.
Yeah.
And we finished them. So these are new. That's the important thing, is these aren't projects that we've projected to fund out of here due to
Yeah.
shortages elsewhere.
And you have more projects that are gonna be dropping off within the next 2 to 3 years.
Every year, we've gotta have
Yeah.
projects drop off.
So you're, as the sales tax dollars keep clicking in like they have been, if that continues, and you're dropping off the larger projects, your fund balance is gonna continue to climb unless we find worthwhile projects to put those monies
Put the
towards.
money to use.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, right, all things being equal, no new projects. Next year, we had an estimated projected fund balance of 19 million. No new projects. The following year, 28 million. So that's where you get money to fund these projects.
So there's a lot of capacity
Yeah.
to fund worthwhile projects.
It'd just be nice to be able to kind of quantify the expenses projected through the end of the fiscal year. I mean, I know just kind of on paper, easy math, it's really easy to be comfortable with it. But just as we start to include more projects and then, you know, possibly funding, let's say, bridge needs or anything, we're gonna need to get a little bit more sophisticated in terms of how do we budget our expenses, you know, over the next months, quarters.
I've got an idea.
Yeah.
I think I got an idea what to do to help that picture.
Sounds good. Any other questions? There was a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second Rez's motion.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. No further business. We're adjourned.
You know,